touching pork, you know, and not really having to deal with that because it's driving me crazy. So I just wanted to say, you know, praise the Most High because I got exactly what I asked for. So now I'm going to change how I pray. I'm actually going a little bit more deeper detail now. So I can get, you know, not like a Santa Claus thing, but just see,
right.
you know, and actually believing in what I'm saying.
So you can.
I can doubt what I talk about. But hello, y'all for the new job.
That was good. Just check it periodically if you need to double check. Just
Y'all didn't know that prayer.
hit this right here.
It's a positive reinforcement.
You know what I'm saying? But out just so you can see.
It's not just like God give me what I want, and it's done. It don't work like that. It's a lot of positive energy, positive. Pretty much your being backs up your prayer. If you understand, who does not understand what I mean by that? Your being, your mood, your state of mind, the way you think, your thoughts. Because you may ask for something or put a request out there, and you really don't believe in it. I've had brothers. We've had brothers here that's you know, they wanted to do certain things in the military, right? And they were given all the tools. I'm talking about you, brothers, before. They were given all the tools to take care of what they needed to take care of. And when asked, well, did you do it? No, I wasn't sure they was going to. You don't believe. You don't believe it's going to work for you. You don't believe it's going to happen for you. That's what trust is. You know what I'm saying? Being steadfast. But you know, you can say something and then take it away in the next breath. You know, I know he knows what I'm going through, but I got to do what I got to do. You just negated whatever it is that you really need or what you really want or what you're really requesting. Because now you're trying to make something out of your own power. So always remember what state of mind you're in when you send out a request. Always, it's like a certain place you need to be.
Want to add to that, even if he may think that may not what he really wants.
Exactly. It may not be what he really wants. That's why, you know, I mean, most of the time I've seen things or I say things, whatever your will is for me. I mean, I have what I want, but what I want may not be what I need.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And likewise to everybody else, what you want may not be what you need. All right. Everybody good? Okay. That a unanimous cane or a kind of cane?
Cane.
Cane.
All right. Ready, more, Ray? All right, well, if you want no other hallelujahs or nothing else, we'll bring up more Malakia.
Yeah. Who's that guy?
You want to pull this one?
All right. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Y'all tired of something? I know I just asked you. Everybody good. Everybody told?
All right. I actually have to get the energy felt kind of off.
Well, you know what?
Maybe it's just the rain.
Everybody stand up.
Maybe it's just the rain.
Yeah, it might be right. Everybody stand up. We're just gonna praise God.
All right.
For everybody be excited. Hallelujah!
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 That better?
Right.
So we're gonna go ahead and do some more of Parasha, or portion of Q'dashiym, right? So to kind of give a brief synopsis of, like what we covered last week. Well, matter of fact, y'all tell me what we talked about last week. For those that were here. Go ahead, it's okay.
We talked about how you're supposed to treat your brother, your neighbor. If you have a field, you don't take all your crops out of the field. You leave a corner, for somebody that's poor, that's maybe coming through.
Right. So what was the Ron was okay and said, what was the significance of not, gleaning all the corners of your field? Why didn't you do that? Why did you have to leave some for the poor and some for the stranger? Why did you have to do that?
Take care of each other. Nobody goes without.
So we can take care of each other and nobody goes without, right? How many people believe that? How many people know that for a fact? That's what we're supposed to do. Okay. What else?
Q'dashiym is set apart, and then when we fruit and don't pick up everything, that we are still being set apart. That's the action that our behavior is. It's the action of being set apart.
You saying not picking all the fruit is action of being set apart?
Yeah, like leaving some.
Okay, you still talking about not reaping the corners of your field.
Right, and it's a part of more like a mental thing, like you're being set apart. You're also, it could be instead of, just being selfish, your pride, and kind of just working on the inside of the mental.
Okay. Anybody remember what we talked about in reference to that word poor? Right? That word poor. Any brief? Poor. Yes. It says that you shall not reap the corners of your field, right? But it says to leave some for the poor, right? And for the Poor. Okay, not poor. Poor. Okay. And the stranger. Anybody remember what we said about that word poor? What it meant? Of course, you have the literal sense of that person that may not have as much as you have. They may be poor, but what else? Go ahead, sis.
Also, spirit, so it didn't necessarily mean for not that it didn't, but it's also spiritually poor and it's only for spirit.
Right.
So
Go ahead.
But when we leave the crops, like my aunt was saying, it just shows them too, it's more to get by your actions.
Okay.
The word was anin, which means humble.
Anin, yeah.
Someone that's afflicted. And like Sis said, it could be spiritually or physically.
Right. So if you're a person that whom the Most High has given bountifully, right? You have the opportunity to give to the person that doesn't have as much in the same literal sense, as well as if a person is in a poor state of mind and the Most High has given you the Bar Elohim, right? You can impute that into your neighbor or to the stranger or to the one who is needy. Make sense? Go ahead, okay.
You also don't glean the edges of your crop. So, like saying, among my brother's keeper. So, if I take everything in, my brothers don't have nothing to eat, or my sister has nothing to eat, that's forced them to steal to feed themselves or their family. So, by me leaving the edges of the crop, you don't have to steal. So that keeps us from breaking another commandment.
Right. So, we can gather from that we have a duty and a responsibility to each other, right?
Right.
Thus saith the Most High.
Right.
Everybody agree?
Okay.
All right. What else? You can actually start scrolling through some of that. What else did we have last week? What is this?
We had the reverence our mother and our fathers. Reverence our mother and our fathers.
Right? You had to, each one of you shall respect his mother and his father, right? Keep the Shabbat and not turn to idols. Right? That's how I opened up. Okay. Remember these questions that I talked about last week. we what are we supposed to be set apart from? Who are we to be set apart to? How are we to be set apart, and who and what determines us to be set apart? Okay, so we're gonna continue on with that. All right. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead and go to slide 10. All right. So we left off on verse 15. 15. Can you go to slide 10 on the slide 10? All right. We left off on verse 15. Matter of fact, go ahead and read that for me. No. While you're from Leviticus chapter 19, verse 15.
Wait for Leviticus chapter 19, verse 15. You shall do no injustice in judgment. You shall not be partial to the poor, nor defer to the great, but you are to judge your neighbor fairly. You should not go about as a slanderer among your people.
So when it says that we shall do no injustice in judgment, right? How are we supposed to render judgment? How do you do that? I got you, okay. Go ahead. Like, how are you supposed to? How is judgment supposed to take place within us as a people?
It must be righteous.
What is that?
Righteous meaning that, like I said, be not begging. So if I'm judging you, make sure I'm doing it according to the Torah, or making sure I'm not doing that. I got slander. I'll flesh in man. Like, that's something like, when I say judge you righteous, that's what I mean. Like, I'm judging you according to Torah, and if you're going against Torah, I beg.
So in other words,
righteous should judge the righteous.
Say that last part again.
Righteous should be judging the righteous.
You said righteous should be judging the righteous. What do you mean by that? I want to make sure I understand what you're saying.
All right. Like I'm judging you, I'll judge you. I'm not saying I'm the righteous above all righteous, but I know I'm walking according to Torah. If I see you doing something against Torah, I'm gonna judge you. But if it's different, like a random person on the street don't know what it's all about.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. It's okay.
There's one rule for all. What it's saying is you don't make no distinction between your esteem or the people that you count as high or the people that you count as lower. Like we have in the United States, we have laws that say, well, this one gets this for this, the other one do the same thing, he gets that. So Torah says everybody gets the same penalty for the same thing. That's because that's what I set in order, and that's what it is. It don't make a difference who you are.
So it doesn't matter if that person is of a high status or low status, whatever the edict is set forth for whatever the citation that's given, that person has to be judged, or you have to be dealt with according to that law, which is contrary to today, right? We see that the laws and stuff that's in place is just totally different, based on status and skin color and all those different things, right? Go to the next one.
Verse. But you are to judge your neighbor fairly. You should not go about as a slanderer among your people.
Who is your neighbor? Who? Anybody is your neighbor? Okay, so let's cover this again. You said anybody. Where the
Neighbor is the ones that live amongst you that's also doing the Most High's law.
So anybody that's doing the Most High's law. How many people say that? Y'all don't know? So you don't know who your neighbor is?
According to the Bible.
According to the scriptures?
Sure.
Where is it?
Your brother or your neighbor is your fellow tribesman or brother.
Fellow tribesmen and anybody that's trying to do likewise.
Right. So that's the native born, right? And who else? The Gare. But Not saying your answer was incorrect, but it didn't seem like you were sure about what you said. So,
I was gonna say, what you gotta remember, when these laws were given, when this was written, he was talking to Israel. So when he said his neighbor, he's talking to Israel. And he said certain things that all of that pertains to how you turn Israel.
confused up?
Yeah, on that part, yeah.
Okay.
When you're talking to Israel, was it Israel surrounded by strangers at the time?
What he's saying is that this edict went forth, yes, to the nation of Israel, right?
Right.
But to the Ger that conforms, right, to the law, statutes, and commandments, there's one law for the native born and the strangers, which is all Israel. Follow me?
Yeah, no, that during that
Verse 16. Verse 16. You should not go about as a slanderer among your people, and you are not to act against the life of your neighbor. I am Yahweh.
Okay. So this says that you are not to go about as a talebearer amongst your people, and you are not to act against the life of your neighbor. I am Yah. Right? So the word for talebearing, right, is the word rakil. Rakil. Okay. This is a scandal monger, right? From the Hebrew 7402 as traveling about. Right? A slanderer carries talebearer, right? This person could, this individual could be lying, or they could be telling the truth.
Okay.
Okay. From the root word rakal, right, meaning to travel for trading, a merchant. To go about, meaning to be dubious, right? You can look that word up, if you want dubious. All right. A trafficker or a trader. I got you out. So the idea is that a talebearer is like a merchant, right? But he deals in information instead of goods. Okay. So that's his profession. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, as you're reading that, I think of the CIA. I think of the spy.
Spy.
They trade. They'll like if Russia had a United States asset. Guess what? We will probably trade them some information to get that person back if he's an asset, and vice versa.
All right. So before you read this, right? What was your idea? Or what was your understanding of a talebearer? I just gave you some definitions or whatever the case may be. We really haven't really gotten into it yet, but what is it? Okay, I see 3 people. What is a talebearer? A talebearer. Go ahead.
What is it, or what did I think it was?
What did you think it was?
I thought it was someone who I'll give you an example. Like if you ever met someone, like we're in the store. Let's say I'm with Zion, and we're in the store, and let's say somebody bumped Zion, Zion kind of gives them a look. So when we get home, Zion's like, yeah, she bumped me and I told her, like somebody that exaggerates the story. That's what I thought.
Okay. All right, so an exaggerative person.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, then I saw sis, go ahead. Then I got you.
I just thought it was someone who was someone who typically either like someone stirs up things, gossiping, stirring up, and also I would say probably exaggerating, stirring it up so that it would get other people worked up.
Okay.
At the same time.
Okay. Okay. Well, I
It
come back
didn't
to.
really happen. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say.
Oh, it didn't really
That
happen.
didn't really happen.
No, I got you. I understood your parallel. I got you. Sis, go ahead.
Yes, I took the word gossip, and then also add somebody who just goes around trying to cause discord amongst a team or a class or anybody. Just their goal is, I heard somebody say this, I heard somebody say that. Just keep it bubbling.
But I'm just trying to look out for you, man. What you mean?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Doc.
To me, a talebearer is like a person who carries tales. It's like a sword bearer. He carried the sword. So he carried tales with him wherever he goes, telling people whatever they want to hear or whatever he wants to tell them. And with that, I got a precept in Mishle. I don't know if you know about that. Mishle. I'm just asking. I don't know if you put it up in your slide. That's why I'm asking. But Mishle 26:22 about the talebearer.
Okay. I got you. We gonna get that.
This goes along with your ninth commandment, thou shalt not bear false witness. This talebearer could be somebody that if they don't like you, they want to get rid of you, bring you before, and then they tell stuff that's not true on you. Or if they're trying to get you off of something that you help them with, they tell stories. So that goes along with that, thou shalt not bear false witness.
But what if it is true? They don't always have to be lying. They could be telling the truth.
Well, we have, because we are an American. If you tell the truth stands by itself and stands for itself. But we are American, and when we use that term truth, you could mean a little bit of something in here that's not quite right, and a whole lot of stuff that is right. So they say truth is based on a perception can be said, which is still may not be accurate as well. If I say that right.
Okay. So perception. Okay, I got you. I'm gonna come back to that. Go ahead, sis.
I thought it was pretty much somebody that only shares negative.
They only share negative information.
That they, everything was, whether it be negative, it could have been true, but it was just only negative. Never really lifting up anybody but when you had, at the very bottom, it says the idea of the talebearer is like a merchant, but he deals with information that are good, and pretty much when it's like a service almost, like that's their duty. That's the only thing they're really good at.
Is that?
Is
that. Okay. I got you. Yeah.
To me, is someone who speaks on somebody else's situation in an unedified way. So it's kind of like they just speak about somebody's life or what's going on in somebody's life just for entertainment purposes. It's not to help out that situation. To speak on what you know about that situation.
Okay. I got you. All right. So go ahead. Okay.
Well, as I look at the word, when it says trafficker and trader, it's almost like he's saying he's trying to trade information for information. He's trying to get something out of the situation or whatever he's talking about. He's trying to get to a point to destroy a person or not to destroy a person if he's telling the truth.
So essentially, this is a double act. Yeah. So you have the person that's giving the information or whatever that is. You have the person who's receiving the information. Okay. So the question I've asked you guys is, how can Raquel, right? How does that act against the life of your Rhea, your neighbor? How does it do that?
It's like you're killing them spiritually. Like you're saying that hurtful things sometimes to them, just kind of like either fish for information or just talk negatively about them. So either way, you're trying to either destroy somebody else's character or you're hurting them by killing them spiritually.
So you say killing them spiritually, right? Or diminishing their spirit. I got you. Go ahead up.
But it's giving the person who you're telling the information a perception or an ideal that the person who you're speaking about is not able to correct or defend whether it's true or not.
Okay. And I like what you said because there's an instruction for that too. So like specifically with this, right? I'm just gonna be frank. Amongst Israel, this is a big problem.
Okay.
Adon did a lesson on this. I want to say when he was at the other building, it was about Mashon Harosh, right? Right? Did I say that right? Harosh, right? Or the evil Hara. Okay, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Mashon Hara, right? The tongue, the evil tongue, right? The Most High is very serious about this. Okay, and because we can't get this under control, right? You can see why a lot of things are the way they are with our people. Dawn was sharing something with me this week. We was talking about what's the young sister name? Gabby, right? The Olympic gymnast, right? She's a good flipper. Right? I mean, she can do her thing, right?
Okay.
But other Israelites, that look like her, in the midst of her flipping, what said is, well, she need to do something about them edges. right?
Come on now.
All they saw.
Not everything that they saw, all they saw was a way to bring her down.
Okay.
Via just speaking that,
Mm.
even though it might have been jestful or whatever the case may be, that's not edifying in any type of way. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Go ahead out.
In that, for the person that just sit back and look, most people that do that, they have a self, self-esteem, or they have an issue with self. Because if somebody could do something good or positive, or they're doing positive things, and you could sit there and find something. Man, look at his shoes.
Mm.
Yeah, he feeding the poor. And look at his shoes. Like, it's mind blowing. It's a wonder, as the Most High put it. It's a wonder.
Right. And a statement like that can lead to, he ain't got no money to look good about himself. Right?
Mm.
Saying whatever about the person. So I got you. It's a snowball. You understand what I'm saying? It can become a snowball. And eventually, it can run some things over. It can destroy some things. Go ahead.
So this would be okay. So it's a person who's traveling that deals in information, whether it be true or a lie, but it has a negative intent behind it. Because I was going to ask, can you tell better by accident? Is there a situation you can do that by accident?
Yes.
Or is it always you know what you know?
Right. Do you guys remember back in the book of Shemot, right? When we went over the portion, it said to, if a man thinks to do what? Speak what? Thoughtlessly, right?
Okay.
To do what? To do told or to do wrong.
Okay.
Right? What the Most High say? What was the instructions concerning that? And we're just talking about speaking. So you say, could you do it by accident? You could. But what that means is that you're not paying attention to what you're doing. All right, because we're going to get down to a verse here in a second that facilitates the opportunity for correction. Okay? And I'll explain on that. I'll explain on that more here in a second. All right. Who is that? Go ahead.
I had a lot down because we kind of went over a lot of places. I was just in response to what you said. One of the things that I was reading was about keeping people you have relationships with, keeping them covered. So, for instance, Proverbs 11:13 says, "A talebearer reveals secrets, but he who is a faithful spirit conceals a matter." Pretty much, if you have a relationship like your or your Isha or whatever the situation may be, you have to keep that person covered. So you're never supposed to tell what's going on within it, especially in a way to kind of belittle them or spread a rumor, because that causes strife. So, things
One thing is that in the scripture, there's two parts to the scripture, but it's really one, because it's almost like one leads to the other. So in an aspect of Magil or Akir, or Bakir, it is basically because it can get very detailed, because it can go to the point where, well, what if somebody, does something that's against Torah? Should I go tell the authorities about that? Am I killed when I'm doing that? If I go tell them what's going on, you see what I'm saying? So here, of course, it's in a negative connotation. It's like saying something. Gossipers, they gossip because they're getting something in return. Whether it's just satisfaction, whether it's making themselves feel better about an issue that they have. So they go tell other people instead of just dealing with the source. You know what I'm saying? Instead of dealing with whoever you got an issue with or whoever, you know what I'm saying?
you're doing this so you can feel better about your own issues. So that's the trade. So I'm saying that's the trading effect. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting something out of it because I feel better about me now because this person is doing that.
And it's like fishing.
Right.
It's fishing because if somebody's not really paying you, as you just said, to keeping the matters hidden. If somebody's not feeding into it, then they're gonna find a weaker vessel that's gonna sit there and entertain and feed into whatever it is the situation is that we're talking about.
Okay.
And I wanna build on what you said. We talk about keeping a person covered, right? So, like for an example, right? That can be very technical. Okay. And what I mean by that is, let's just say, let's just take murder for an example, right? That's not something that you would keep covered. You understand what I'm saying? That would be something that would have to be dealt with. Follow? Okay.
Why?
Because that involves capital punishment.
Okay. It's another reason why.
What you got?
Well, you know. Yeah. Because in Torah, you don't report it. What's your part?
Your part.
The blood is on you.
And we'll get to that. You know what I'm saying? There are times that if you don't speak up, you're just as guilty as the party.
Perfect example of talebearing was the behavior of the youth of Gary Douglas thing. That's talebearing. That's basically gossip. That's basically trying to say something about somebody to belittle them. And what they say, and here it is. To our perspective, or to some other people's perspective, who think hair's supposed to be flowing long and straight and all that, to tell the truth. But to people that knows better about our people, our hair is supposed to be as our hair was. You see what I'm saying? So it was true in a sense, but it's not true in another sense. But that's talebearing. That's
It's a perception, right?
Right.
From that person's perception. And when we came in, again, it's always going to be from each individual in here, perception, how they absorb this information.
Okay, I agree. To kind of add to it is that, saying like, under that cookie, it says naughty. Okay, I might could put that into the category of tailbearing, which is not negative. I might could put that in the category of tailbearing. Tailbearing is a little more serious stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of petty. It's a little more serious. It's more like an accusative type of mentality or spreading somebody else's fault. One is that it says, because notice it says be'amika, which is in your people. So you shouldn't run around like kill be'amika in your people. So amongst your people, you shouldn't go around doing this. One is because, say you do so, everybody that has something they've done, maybe recently, maybe a long time ago, that you really don't want everybody to know, or you don't want people going around spreading that. You know what I'm saying? If you find out, okay, but you don't want nobody going and telling everybody, no, why you gonna tell them? You know what I'm saying? I know everybody's had it happen before. You like, well, why did you tell them?
Thank you.
And then the question is, why did that person go tell parties that this really doesn't concern? You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they talebearers. Right. They were killed. Then the next part of that scripture says that you should not, it says, lo te'amod al dam. So that word al, it just doesn't mean against, it also means upon. So I'm going to use upon instead of against because it says you should not te'amod, which means to stand upon the blood of your re'eka, of your neighbor. So now if I add that to that, did you want to bring that out? Go ahead. If I add that to that, now you have, don't be a talebearer. And then it says, don't stand on the blood of your neighbor. So in essence, you shouldn't be where you're at because you standing on the blood of your neighbor. You did something dirty. You see what I'm saying? And now you standing, or you in the position that you're in, or you're where you're at, you're only standing because you own the blood of your brothers. On the life, right? And I just wanted to use blood to bring out your blood. You know what I'm saying? So now you didn't shafted them or screwed them or whatever you want to use, and did them dirt, done them dirty by slander. You know what I'm saying? By saying something. So now it makes you look like, oh yeah, you know, I'm not doing anything over here. That's wicked. That's wicked.
And what you'll find out is like really in between 11 and 18, which we go in chapter 19. That's the majority of reason why we in captivity. Because of, one, we were disobedient, and then two, how we deal with each other. Because the Most High said, I told you to take care of one another, and you didn't do it. I told you to do it, and you didn't do it. Right? So the Most High has, and in that, right, there's parameters for how all this is supposed to work. Right? So you remember a couple of weeks ago, we drew that big circle on the board, right? And then we were talking about doing what? Put some breaches in the circle, right? That means that in order for this to function, every contributing member in the circle has to fill in the gaps. A cannot do what it's supposed to do without B to get the results for C. You understand? It's like that for a reason. And guess what? Because we still don't do that, you understand? Just go outside this door right here and look at your people.
Okay.
Look at your people. Our people. Asian people, they got no issues. Everybody works in a Chinese store. Everybody. White people, no disrespect to nobody, they're together. Even if it's
against you.
Even if it's a lie, they're together. You know what I'm saying? Middle, Arab people, they're together. But not you, Yisrael. You know what I'm saying? Without any just, without cause or whatever, you will act against the life of your neighbor. You'll do it. And it's only proven because that's just what we see. Yes.
Make another comment that typically it's a situation where you may be upset with a person for a moment, and then you go making comments or slandering and having things to say, and then you come back maybe a couple weeks, a month later, and you're like, okay, well, I wanna rebuild this relationship. I want to take back what I said, but you can't. Because even scripture says that if you offend your brother, it's harder to win him back than a strong city. So it's one of those things where you have to be mindful of the things you're saying before you go slandering or talking about someone, because it could be extremely hard to repair that after it's all said and done.
And I'm dealing with this because from a nation standpoint, whether our people want to come to terms with this or not, our relationships are very much so important. Because you want to know why? It's a set apart relationship. It's commanded to be that way. So it's very important. So we can't say, well, it doesn't matter. You understand? It don't necessarily mean that, everybody's gonna get along the same kind of way. That would be absurd to think. But to all together say that how we function together, like for an example, right? There couldn't be no dissension walking through the sea when Moshe parted. Otherwise, your behind would have got caught up in it when he came back down. You understand what I'm saying? That's how important this is. That's how important it is. That's how serious we should take it. All right, go to a couple of scriptures real quick to bring this out. Go to Mishlei chapter 20, Proverbs chapter 20, verse 19.
Mishlei of Proverbs chapter 20, verse 19. He who goes about as a slanderer reveals secrets.
Right.
Therefore, do not associate with the gossip.
Okay, so you know where they got that from? Back in Shemot, the Most High said, keep yourself as far away from a false report as possible. Y'all remember that?
Right.
Same thing being said here again. You You know what I'm saying? Unless, we're trying to do something to build up or correct a deficiency, you're commanded to stay away from stuff like that. Because guess what? Then we won't be having a conversation about tailbearing. It's not even a point of discussion. Why? Because you stayed away from it. You recognized it when you saw it or when you heard it. Make sense? Say it again. Yeah, it tells you to stay away from a false report. Keep far from a false charge or a false report. That's what it says. So literally, we'll bring it out later, but literally what that's saying is you're supposed to keep as much distance away from something like that as possible. Okay. We learned that back in Exodus. All right, go to Mishlei chapter 11, 13, really quick.
Also on verse 19, you see the exchange of something. He who flatters with his lips. Somebody's flattering, they're looking for something. There's the trade. There goes the trade.
Mishlei or Proverbs chapter 11, verse 13. He who goes about as a talebearer reveals secrets, but he who is trustworthy conceals a matter.
Okay, that's kind of like that. Go to Mishlei chapter 26, verse 20 through 22.
That was chapter 11 you read?
That was chapter 11, verse 13. We'll go to 26, 20 through 22.
Mishlei or Proverbs chapter 26, verse 20. For lack of wood, the fire goes out.
Wow.
And where there is no whisper, contention quiets down. Like charcoal to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife.
So why is strife likened unto kindling of fire? Right, so you have the power to pretty much stop that before it starts, right? Okay, so understand that, and also know that kindling strife, right, by means of what you're saying, all right, or strife amongst the brethren, that is an abomination to the Most High. That's what he said. 7 things, 6 things he hates, right, and the 7 is an abomination. Okay. It's likened unto kindling of fire. So when there's no wood, we're not adding to the fire, right? It'll stop.
Right.
Then guess what? Like I said earlier, we won't be having this conversation about tailbearing. Because 1, you're not even near the fire, and 2, you're not contributing to it.
So how do you deal with a situation if it's your blood? Like I said, my mother, I recently got in contact with my father, and he told me stuff that he never told me before. Because he felt like I'm a man, I could receive it now. And the situation is my mother basically.
Before you do that, I don't want you to say anything to uncover your parent.
No, okay, I'm not gonna say that today. I'm gonna keep it, like I said, I'll tell you what I want you to hear. Basically, what I won't repeat. How about that? So it was basically information was crossed up. So the question is, if you know that, I'm gonna say, if you know somebody in your family, the slander is a talebearer, they're calling you, you want to talk to them. Do you say, hey, is that the term love somebody from afar? Basically, you can talk to them on the phone, but just keep it, I'm doing good, I'm fine, thank you. Thank you, love you too. All right, right.
Right. The best thing to do is always keep the commands toward the person. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is that if you know that if the conversation is not going to be edifying, in other words, you know what I'm saying, if the point of us having this conversation is not to build or to help solve a problem so that we don't have an issue again, what's the point of having a conversation? There's really nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So if we're not going to solve a problem, or if we're not going to build upon this to establish some things that, you know what, I didn't quite look at that like that. When you told me that, I'm gonna go, it's like there's so many different ways. When I say different ways, there's so many positive ways to have a conversation. See what I'm saying? To get the mess out. You know what I'm saying? So if you know that that's not gonna happen, right? There's no point in having the conversation.
Say no, you don't answer the phone. You know that's
No.
You say don't answer the phone?
yeah, because you know sometimes like I can say you know what, it's gonna be positive. It's gonna be a positive conversation. And then 2 minutes into it, I'm like, here you go.
Well, in all things, use coping. Use wisdom. You know what you're dealing with a lot of times before you even get into it. You understand what I'm saying? So in that, you should be able to make a conscious decision on, okay, you know what? Yeah, I can answer the phone, but I'm only gonna go with this far.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Just for the sheer fact, I'm trying to keep respect, and I don't want to disrespect nobody, and I want to remain blameless from start to finish. If I ended it with saying, you know what, I love you, I hope, we can come to some type of resolution soon. You know what I mean? It's so many ways to tackle that without being guilty in a sense, if you will. So that doesn't weigh down on your conscience. You understand what I mean? Did I answer your question?
Yes. It's like I tell my children, leave other people's problems with other people. That's their problem, not your problem. Don't step in the middle of it. And if you choose to hear it, or tell them not to talk about it, if you choose to hear it, then hear it, believe it where it's at, don't carry it with you.
How about if, for example, right, you're the type of person that talks to your parents every single day, but speaking positivity toward any situation makes them more upset than.
Don't close it.
Say that again, sis. I'm sorry.
Speaking positivity towards a situation makes them more upset than what you're expecting it to do by deflecting, by calming the situation down is making the situation worse because you're not siding with them.
Okay.
So how do you?
There's always a lot of wisdom in just being quiet. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to say anything. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So again, that's back to my point. This is having the ability, right, to have foresight, paying attention to what's going on that's right in front of you, knowing what's going on, knowing what to do, what not to do. Okay. And in all efforts, right? If you know that speaking Kai or life into a situation just doesn't really work well for that situation, just be quiet. There's nothing wrong with being quiet until we can get to a point where, okay, now we can talk about this.
So you're not entertaining it by listening, you're just being quiet.
Just being quiet. You don't have to sit there and you don't have to sit there and listen to something like that. Again, like I said, if the objective is not to problem solve so that we don't have this again.
That's why I said parents.
You said parents?
Yeah, I didn't say sister, brother, or friend. Parent.
Go ahead.
The issue is not so much, the issue is traveling.
Right.
That is the issue for talebearing. The issue is that it's traveling. There's gonna be information that people have to talk about, okay? That I have to listen to more, I might have to tell Kazak about a situation that happened in the assembly. I'm not talebearing, I'm informing him. You know what I'm saying? So that we are informed, so we know how to act. And it's different if I'm telling somebody outside of the house some information pertaining to something in the assembly. That could be looked at as traveling information that has no reason to travel. So then the question now would be is, why am I telling them that? What am I trying to, quote unquote, gain or exchange from allowing it to go that way? So we've had plenty of situations where people in the assembly have been a part of the assembly, maybe still a part, maybe not. People have left, they said things, and the information is traveling. That's an issue when information is traveling. Even if something happens between you and a brother, you and a sister, something happened between me and Yochanan, the first party to know shouldn't be Malachi.
Okay.
The first party should be to know is Yochanan. And once we have resolved the issue, it really doesn't need to travel. Unless the issue cannot be resolved, then we have to go to something else.
Okay.
So if somebody's offended, right, by anything, then the issue needs to be spoke of to that person directly. It shouldn't travel to your friend, to your aunt, to your akuti, because now you become a carrier of information called a rakil in the scriptures, or a talebearer.
Okay.
Because you did not address the party that it was. I don't care what the thought was or what the issue, you should address the party. One thing about Kazakia, you call him telling him about somebody, he's always gonna say to you, did you say something to the person?
Okay.
You need to call him a don. I've done it. I called the brother before to ask him about somebody else. I can admit that. But he was able to be an adon to me and say, well, did you call the brother to ask him about it? Nah, I didn't. Call that brother. Okay, you right. I'm gonna call him right now. That's exactly how it should be. That should be the end of the conversation.
Okay.
Did you call that brother?
Because you just solved the problem.
Right.
Or you gave.
Or it was never really an issue,
right,
but somebody wanted to tell bear. You see what I'm saying? So if you can't build yourself up to talk to that person, there may have not really been an issue. You're scary and you're the problem. So you need to work on you.
Okay.
Instead of, you see what I'm saying?
When a person calls someone to discuss or tell their or anything like that, you call the person that you know you're going to 9 times out of 10 get the result that you want. So if you want somebody to agree with what you're saying, you're going to call somebody that you know is going to agree. But if you want somebody to be honest, you're going to call the person that you know is going to be honest. So if you're going with the purpose or the intent to just talk and gossip, you're going to get on the phone with a person that's going to sit and gossip. For example, if I'm dealing with something and I want somebody to be honest with me, I'll go to Mike because I know he's going to say, well, what is towards that? Should you have done that? And then I have to go check myself, but that's what I want. That's why I go to him. But if I want somebody to sit there and give me a pity party, I'll call one of my friends and be like, oh, such and such and such, and I already know the type of response my friend is going to give me. So it's something to think about for yourself too. Like if this person is calling me every day with gossip, am I feeding into this gossip? Or maybe I need to check myself because every day I'm talking to this person, he gossiping about somebody else.
Like ruachs is gonna find like ruachs. So if it's always, I'm gonna use this assembly. It's always gonna be us sitting in here like, well, it's not me. It's not me. It's not me. But then think about it. Are you the person that's always listening to gossip? Are you the person that's always gossiping? Or calling somebody and say, hey girl, hey guy, yo, more, hey, guess what? Are you that person? And once you realize you are that person, look at who's always feeding into it. And you're gonna notice y'all got the same character.
That's okay.
We're talking about
Joanna.
Oh.
Okay. Let's say that, okay, my mom, right, for example, and her sister, right? She tells me something about her sister or my sister. But she knows that she can't come to them because they'll start an argument. But she knows that, you know, she can tell me, and obviously I'm gonna listen or feed into what she's saying. Am I a talebearer if I go to my aunt or my sister and tell her, listen, you know, my mom, she's having, you know, whatever issues, and she wants to talk to you, but she feels like she can't. Am I being a talebearer? Because the second party didn't know that I knew, but my mom can't.
You look like you each one.
Oh, in support of that, are you talebearing when you're trying to be a mediator between the situation?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's totally different. We're dealing with Yeah, we're dealing with counseling, we're dealing with mediating, trying to bring resolve to, that's trying to bring to a situation to a non-situation. You see what I'm saying? So if you can't, sometimes you can't talk to somebody in their heat. I mean, Torah Mishaleh, it tells us about that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you can't talk to somebody in heat sometimes. The situation may be, and you may need to bring somebody in, not to bring somebody in to make yourself look good, but just say, I'm trying to talk to this person. I'm trying to correct the issue. Can you speak to them? I'll say this, it's like, if you kill somebody on accident, you still killed them, right? But you're not, it's not punishable under death. So information is traveling in that sense, but it's to bring a resolve. You see what I'm saying? So we're trying to clear up the situation. No, that wouldn't be a case. And one, it's in-house. So y'all 3 parties are involved. Keep it in 3 parties. Now, when you call your uncle, who y'all haven't seen in years, he's way on the outside, you just trying to tell him about what you've done and what's going on. Now, my question would be, as an outsider, is why are you doing that? Are you trying to make yourself seem like something in front of your parties, your uncle, or whatever? Now you're dealing with something that it doesn't need to be done. You know what I'm saying? So, no, that's not a talebearer. Mediation is not a talebearer. Nothing like that would be considered a kill. But that person that's trying to go around spreading stuff and stay on the blood of his brother or whatever, that goes on, that has gone on, and it's still going on. It's something that you have to constantly check and you have to be mindful of, because you'll find yourself in your old patterns very easily. I said something years ago in here is that I ain't nobody's trash can. So if you start calling me with mess, you hear the phone start getting silent, and I'm gonna give you a very basic answer. Because I'm not your trash can. Don't dump your trash on me. Don't dump trash you got going on with other people on me, unless you tried to do a resolve and it didn't happen. Now you can call the Maureen and we can step, or the Zocane. You don't have to call, you call us, and now somebody can step in and help resolve the matter. But other than that, don't call me with your trash. I don't want to hear your trash. Okay. And you shouldn't want to hear anybody else's trash. And if you're listening to it, or if they're always calling you with trash, then you need to, it's always back to self. You need to check yourself and say, why are people always calling me with trash? Why do they feel comfortable? I had to tell that to an imam, and she got mad. But I had to tell, well, I didn't tell her, my Isha told her. But it's based off what, but she had to tell her that, why do people feel comfortable always telling you trash and gossip? She didn't like it, she didn't come back. But it had to be said. Why? Why do people feel comfortable talking to you about trash? They shouldn't feel comfortable. Like you say, you should be speaking in a positive or life words, and they should, if they in dark, or if they don't want to hear it, guess what? They just gonna hate to talk to you, and eventually the phone calls will stop. So they're gonna say, she gonna always tell me something righteous, and I don't want to hear righteousness. So now it's affirmed that you just don't want to hear righteousness.
Okay.
It was don't get me. Like, I've had issues, people call me, and my issue knows, like, I don't like to hear a lot of negativity, especially if it's Shabbat's coming in or whatever. She's like, hey, this is Shabbat. Family members. Everybody, listen, this is Shabbat. This is kind of, I don't want you to bring me down. I talk to you like I don't like to be brought down. And I could say, wherever you're at, you're gonna react in the situation based on where you're at. I don't like to be brought down. So I tell my mama, anybody, like, listen, you bringing me down right now. I try to give them positive words, and I'm like, I gotta go.
And it's gonna make you feel one or two ways. Pay attention next time somebody from the inside or the outside, because it may be people doing it in the assembly. Trust me, I hear the whispers. Pay attention next time somebody is putting negative words on you or tell them. Pay attention to how do you feel. Do you feel rejuvenated? If you feel rejuvenated, you got a lot of going to do. But if you feel like, man, it's like a dark cloud over me since I talked to this person, pay attention to the ruach that you have while this is happening. And then you'll start to be like, wait, this is heavy. I feel heavy after I talk to this person. Now I'm not saying that sometimes people not gonna call you with issues that are going on with them and things that are working. I get that. Need advice. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying when you stick to the raquel, the tail bearing and the stuff, it's like this is just watch how you feel. Watch how you feel afterward. Now they just took all that energy that they had on them and they dropped it on you. So now when they get off the phone, they go off the phone skipping and hopping because they didn't got it off of them and they dropped it on you.
And kind of okay. In essence, right, when you think about tail bearing, right, this is that parameter of speech. They're like inflicting wounds. They're on the inside. So if a person is speaking to cause wounds in the inward parts, that's what you know. That's how you can decipher between tail bearing, right? Or like if we're trying to, or we're just trying to problem solve. You understand what I'm saying? So it says that the words of a tail bearer is wounds. They go down to the innermost parts of the belly, right? The tent, the belly, especially the womb. So any fruit that they bring forth is to damage, right? In exchange for more damage.
Okay.
Does that make sense? That's where tail bearing has its roots. It's damaged material. It's damaging conversation in exchange for more damaging conversation. All right, that's the bottom line. So if you're a person that likes to damage things, right, chances are you're gonna hop from damaged place to damaged place to damaged place. You know what I'm saying? In exchange to do more damage.
So is that a pattern?
That's a pattern. That's absolutely a pattern. Vice, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of like what you were saying, if we're trying to resolve the problem, we're not doing anything to inflict harm. You understand? We're trying to resolve this so that there is no hurt. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead, okay.
Yeah, as I look at it, like it says, going down to the belly, that's part of your insides, which if you eat something good, it generates throughout your whole body, goes in the bloodstream. So if that stripe or that tail bearer gets inside your belly, it's going throughout your whole body.
So
just to think about that.
These this is the essential of tail bearing or slander, right? And on the legal side, you can't do that. A person could sue you for defamation of character, and people win a lot of money because of stuff like that. Simply because you said that that person is they got orange hair, and it's it has 2 knots on the left. You understand? You essentially brought that person's character down. That's what you did.
It is damaging. That's what the essence is. It's damaging. And there was a post, and it was talking about a little boy who had a temper, right? And when he used to get mad, he should say all kind of crazy stuff and throw a tantrum, right? And so what his Abba did, he gave him a bunch of nails. And he said, every time you get mad, right, I want you to just nail one of these nails into the fence, or nail as many as you need to, right? So at first, they said the first week went by, the boy was just nailing nails in there, getting mad, just beating all kind of nails in the fence, right? So the second week went by, and it was less nails. So the third week went by, it was maybe 1 nail a day. And to the 4th week, he wasn't putting nails into the fence anymore. So then I think you posted it, or you shared it, right? Okay. So he said that after that, his father said, all right, now go pull all the nails out. So he had mad nails in the fence, right? So he had to pull all the nails out. And then his Abba said, yeah, you pulled all the nails out, great job. He said, but you see all these holes? He said, you can't repair that. See what I'm saying? You can't repair. When a tail bearer goes off doing it, they do things that. The boy asked his father for forgiveness. His father said, you know what? He said, I'll always forgive you. He said, but the damage you've done, that's permanent. And that's what I always tell my wife. I say, you can break something and you can repair it, but it's never the same again. So the objective is to catch yourself before you damage it. Before the damage is done. So now all these holes are everywhere, and you wondering why it's not the same stability. The relationship doesn't have the same stability. It's just like that fence doesn't have the same stability because it has holes on it. So always remember that.
And and what we dealing with right here, I don't want nobody to point the finger because we've all missed the mark probably in this area once or twice in your life.
Right.
Okay. Now. So, or even now. So, the objective is that as a Mishpachah, right? You got a duty, you understand, to not let this happen in the family. We got a duty for that.
All right.
Okay? Because if we don't, we only damage in the family. All right, go to the next verse. Any questions on Talebearing? And right here, I just put some different scriptures up, that can help without, to help minimize that. You can write these down. I'm not going to go through all of them. Go ahead,
So, I'm saying, speak for us as a son. If we know one of our us, tell them to be addressed publicly, in house, on here, right here, or close to the side, like, hey, see what you're doing, those you're doing, stop and allow.
There's nothing.
How do you approach that?
There's nothing wrong with if you catch something, right, and you notice something, there's nothing wrong with pulling your brother, your sister to the side in love and say, listen, we really not building on that. We need to change how you should probably look at how we're doing business. It's called an awareness. It's just simply letting somebody know that you could be missing the mark right here. I love you and I'm telling you the truth. And then you leave it at that. And like anything else in life, right? For an example, in the Navy, right? I tell a guy something, I tell one of my guys something, right? I give them an opportunity to fix it. If they don't, then we just go up the chain of command. And then ultimately, if they have to go see the captain, guess what? If they don't correct the deficiency, they go. Right? There's not too much that's going to reside, it's not going to reside in the camp. And when I'm speaking of the camp, I'm saying nation of Israel. So there's certain things the Most High says, put that evil out of your camp.
Right.
It's not even supposed to be in your midst. That's what it says. Because the Most High doesn't want these things sprouting up from tent to tent to tent to tent. You understand what I'm saying? Just like he doesn't want idolatry sprouting up. Just like he doesn't want people just doing whatever they want to do sprouting up. Get that stuff out of here because it's not set apart. You understand what I'm saying? I got you. When we started this, I said that the Most High is not asking us to do anything, right, that he himself doesn't do. The Most High, he shows us how to correct, because he corrects us. He does it in love, and he tells you, listen, get this under control. Do the same thing with your brothers and sisters, your family. It's all about, we are people that really haven't been taught nothing about self-control. We're just all over the place. And we love that. You know what I'm saying? So, in teaching that, right, or saying that to a person, make sure you can exhibit what you're talking about. You understand what I'm saying? Good. Oh, good.
I just wanna, I actually have a question. I think you guys answered it, but what if someone does something to you, right? Like a one-on-one. I don't think this will be Talebearing, but I just want to know how you deal with it. Like, let's just say you and someone else, y'all have a situation and you felt like you're done wrong, right? And so you kind of let it meditate inside your mind, but you could be perceiving it wrong. And they could not, their intentions might not even been wrong, but you took it wrong and you're holding it inside. It's like
you want to get this one out?
It's just,
Ask them.
And then when you do, they feel like you're accusing them, and then it takes off to a whole nother level because let's just say if I said, this wall is red. And you're like, no, it's not red, that's orange. And I feel like, something so simple as that, I'm calling you a liar. You take it personal. What if you take it personal? How do you fix that? It's just like, how do you fix that inside? That you're taking what someone said personal. And it could be a lie. You could be lying on that person. It's just how you feel at the time. I don't know if I can do this. Yeah. Okay, bad example.
So you're asking me how to fix what somebody else is feeling inside?
Well, no, I'm not asking that. I'm saying, does it fall? I don't think it falls under between talebearing. But what if I did something to you, right?
Okay.
And I didn't think it was anything wrong, but you felt like it was something wrong, and almost as if you're turning my character around, but that's not what I intended. It came out wrong. My intention, you took it wrong, and it wasn't even wrong.
Well, now we're dealing with a completely different issue. You know what I'm saying? Like this right here is just talking about traveling information. Right. So you're talking about if you have a dispute with your brother or your sister, and you're trying to go to somebody and you're trying to get clarification on what's being said, right? This between you and this person. That's what you're saying. Okay. So that's a completely different issue. So you said to me, like, how do you get a person to not take something wrong? You understand what I'm saying?
Like, should you just ignore it? Like, let it go? Because I understand if you have talebearing, like, someone going around, and I get that part. I understand that part. But what I'm saying is between two people, could you kind of like if two people have a discussion, and it might not even be nothing wrong or negative, and then someone is offended, and with them being offended, it's kind of like your character is being slandered. Like you're slandering that character, and it probably wasn't even nothing wrong.
Okay. Well, what we're gonna do? I'm gonna table that for you. You know what I'm saying? We'll deal with that. You know what I'm saying after we get done, because you added a lot of different dynamics that really don't have anything to do with talebearing, so to speak. Okay. I got you.
Slandering your brother inside with your thoughts.
Professor X there.
Yeah. 19.
Or Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. You shall not hate your fellow countrymen in your heart. You may surely reprove your neighbor, but shall not incur sin because of him. You shall not take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the sons of your people. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahweh.
Okay, so you say you shall not hate, right? Shall not. This means to be changed, to be different or diverse, to change oneself, to be distant, to reject, or to weaken. Okay, so essentially, when it says to hate, don't change how you keep the commands towards this person. You understand what I'm saying? Don't do that. All right. Now, are we all gonna get along? Brothers and sisters, they reason sometimes. Sometimes things get a little heated. You understand what I'm saying? But understand that you are commanded, right, not to harbor hatred inside in your inward parts. All right. It says that because if it's in your inside, that's what you're gonna manifest out into that person. That's what you're gonna do, because that's what's inside of you. Should not hate your fellow countrymen. You shouldn't do any of those things. I got you. But you should love your neighbor as yourself. So the rule is very simple. The things that you want done to yourself, right? How you love yourself, right? That's how you should love your neighbor. So if loving yourself is just being a complete, to your neighbor, don't complain if that's what comes back to you. Because those are the seeds that you put into the ground. Don't complain about that. Just understand that, chances are that's probably how I was to that person. And they're only showing me exactly how I am or something that I did. In most cases, not all.
You said that we all won't get along, and that's how it is. But if we all have the character of Yah, and we all have the same interest, and we're following the commandments, wouldn't that make us all alive that, which was in turn make us get along at the end?
Well, no. The reason why I say that is because personalities are different. So, go ahead. Personalities are different. Not every person thinks the same or whatever the case may be, but there's a standard of how you should be towards each other. That doesn't mean that we always going to agree on the same things or always feel what a person is saying. I mean, that's just being straight up. You know what I'm saying? But to do this to your radar, you know what I'm saying? That's how they treat us out here. And that's how you act to your brother and your sister.
Dang.
That's the major difference. They kick you when you down. And then we turn around and do the same daggone thing. I'm gonna kick you while you down too. You understand what I'm saying? Don't do that. And when I'm saying we're not all gonna get along, we're not all gonna always agree on the same thing. But what we can agree on is if there is something, we can come to this book, right? And we can read this book. It ain't about your opinions no more.
Exactly.
It's all about thus saith Yah. Because he said, I am Yah. So what they're saying is if you got a question, just go look at what I say.
Okay.
And then that's the end of it. Then there's nothing else to talk about if you about following these commandments. No, I got you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, you know, sometimes, I got you. Sometimes we make things a lot more difficult than they gotta be. You understand what I'm saying? And personalities are different. We were all raised differently. And then the big product is, you know, a lot of us still have some of the mentality of our captors.
Are we striving to have this personality?
We are.
Not all we want.
We are. We all are striving for that. You know what I'm saying? But we all got to be consistent in keeping the commands towards each other. You can't say, well, you know what? I'm going to keep the commands for the month of September, but October, you know, I'm not going to do that. You can't do that. The objective is to still love your neighbor as yourself, even when you don't want to. And what that means is simply keeping the commands towards that person. Go ahead.
I got to say the answer because it goes to maturity and where everybody's at. It's always going to be there. Again, where we're at right now, we're not all in the same place. So ultimately, that's the goal. You know, to be in, you know, ultimately is to be in the land, so under the government of the Most High, everybody's following the law, statutes, commandments, so on and so forth. A blissful place, but we're not there. We're striving for that. So you're gonna have people that come through that comes through, and they have a whole other mentality of what love is. I'm just gonna use Christianity because that's most people. They come in here and they're Christians, but they're Hebrews now. I'm a Hebrew, but they're Christians. So it's certain things that it's hard for me to listen to. It's certain things that's hard for me to listen to. It doesn't make that person less my brother. It's just, it's hard for me to listen to that. It's some people that talk too much. They don't have a level of discernment of what they're saying, how they're saying it, or whatever. And I may keep a different distance between them and you. Maybe you don't talk as much as this person. I may keep a distance. I still love the brother or sister. You understand what I'm saying? If they need my help, I'm there if I'm available. But what it is what it is. We're all different people. We all have different personalities. We all have a different place where we're at in our minds, how to deal with each other, and so on and so forth. And that's the reality of it. Again, this is not church. You can go to church. Everybody act like, oh, hey, sister. Hey, man, that girl over there, that brother over there. You know what I heard about that brother? It shouldn't be like that. Because if everybody's real, everybody knows how to feel when they come, when they see each other. What you see is what you get. Because at least for me, Kazak is Kazak 24/7. Can you say the same for yourself? Can you say the same for yourself? Can you say when you may act one way here, you act a whole other way home, you act a whole other way when you're at work, you act a whole other way? Everybody's in a different place.
I was saying actually the word should not.
Yeah.
That's the definition to be changed.
Yeah. Well, it's the word, it's the Hebrew word for the word hate.
Oh, it's the word hate.
All right. And in that, right, you know what I'm saying, you begin to love the person less. Okay.
I just want to say, yes, we are striving with the character of God. Yes, we should all get along, and that's true. We should get along. That is correct. The thing is that
on top of that, I think that everybody, people, they want the same amount of intimacy, but that's not the way it works. I think that's more. I think that might make it a little clearer. Is that it may be a brother or a sister that we call. You have the scripture. In the scripture, you have Raya. Right? Raya is like friend, right? Then you have the word kaber. Kaber means companion or a friend of my bosom. So, in order to be kaber, you must be a Raya. That's like the bare minimum. So we all should be Raya to each other, friends or people that watch out for each other. But all of us may not be kaber because kaber is built from relationship and us striving. I might have grew up with Big Dog. We gonna have a different relationship from everybody else. It's just a fact. So I'm saying, because that's my kaber, because he knows where I'm from. We got that. And then you have the highest level, which is a hab or a haba, which means my lover, be an isha or should be an isha, but could also be a brother or a sister. That's my love. That I would die for this person. You know what I'm saying? Like we like that. I'll say this: Yahusha said, "No greater love than a man lay down his life for his friend." So there is no greater love than that. So that should be the ultimate goal. But on that road, everybody's at different spots. You might not be in a place where you can be my Kevlar, right? Because of where I'm at. I can't be your Kaber because where you're at. You're just not going to be a friend to the president. That's not the way it works. He's on a whole other level of understanding, of information. Whether he's wicked or not, he's on another level. You're not going to be that type of level with him, that type of relationship with him. So it would only be prideful for you even to think that. You know what I'm saying? That would be the pride of you. So I think that if we look at it as different levels of friendship, you just may not be that type of friend with that, and that person may not want you to be that type of friend to them. The thing is, it's okay. The Most High shares his secrets with different people. He doesn't share his secrets with all of Israel, but he'll share his secret to who he trusts and who he wants. You know what I'm saying? But he says, I love the whole nation. But I only reveal myself to certain people, I only deal with certain people in that way. Right. And then he had a relationship with Miriam and Aharon that wasn't the same for the other priests. Then he had different, so there's always different relationships. Caleb and Yahusha ben Nun, they were a pair. Most I said they got different ruachs. Caleb and Moshe Joshua came.
But the standard is the same. Right. For a baseline standard is the same. So in other words, a baseline standard is you shouldn't treat anybody the way you don't want to be treated.
That's right.
That's the baseline standard.
So that's what it means. Love your neighbor.
Right. So for example, if you are, let's just say the bare minimum is courtesy and respect, then you should get courtesy and respect back. And then you can build on top of courtesy and respect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we adding these building blocks. Okay, you know what? That's what's up. I like, that's good. I have opportunity to see a facet of Yah's character in that person. And likewise, I hope they see the same in me.
I thought when it said love your neighbor the way you love yourself, I take care of myself, I feed myself, I bathe myself.
That it is that. I'll just say, let's just say the base standard was courtesy and respect. You know what I'm saying? That was just an example. Yes, if you're not a person that would not like to go hungry, if you see somebody that wants to eat, feed them. That doesn't mean that y'all have a stupendous relationship. You're just looking out for, you're doing what you're supposed to do. You did your part.
You have the baseline, and then you have like this. Would you die for your neighbor? So you don't know. So how could you, say love your neighbors if you love yourself? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you're not trying to die. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you're not trying to die for your neighbor. But if you were to die for your neighbor, you took that level and you took it way up. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how it reacts.
Well, the thing is, I'm not, okay, and that's true. So you have situations where you don't know if you'll die. You're just gonna go help because you know there's a high percentage chance that you can get up out the situation.
Right.
What about a situation where you know you're going to die? You see, it's like, well, I'm gonna shoot him or you. And you like, I don't know what you did, bro. You know what I'm saying? It may be a situation like that. You can say, oh no, but then you look at your children. And you go, like, I don't really know this person. And I got children, I got babies here. Then my husband needs me, my Isha needs me. You see how all that starts playing? You be surprised what tricks your mind do on you to bring you right on back down to life. Well, I can't die for the brother. You see what I'm saying? But your heart, you can look past all of that for your heart and say, no. You're gonna take this person out, you're gonna have to take me out. And knowing that that's the only way is death out of the situation, the question is now, what do you do? What will you do? So that's what I'm starting. I'm understanding, I don't give everybody the same titles. That's why Yah gave us different words for these different levels of relationship. But as a bare standard, as Lord Malak is saying, is that there's always a standard. When we did the picture of the house, the foundation was what? Torah. Everything comes up from that. So you better be on that bare minimum foundation of Torah with your neighbor. You see what I'm saying? So if you want to be eating, you better make sure your neighbor is eating too. You want clothes on your back, even if you gotta take your neighbor into your house and let him be a servant in your house. You still fulfilling Torah in that. Because somebody can say, well, would you want to be enslaved? You see how that scripture can be mishandled or misused, what the proper understanding of it is? You know.
You use the term die for your neighbor, and everybody's like, oh, I don't know. But we do it every day. We die for people. We die for people that's not our neighbor. We die for these people. We join ourselves to the military. We put our lives on the lives for the way of lifestyles in the United States, so that they can maintain this lifestyle. You die for these people that's not your neighbor. So when you say die for your neighbor, when you go into when they went to battle back then, the subject not to come back home. And there was no guarantee that y'all was gonna bring everybody back home. So basically, you are dying for the lifestyle that y'all ain't intended to have. So you are literally dying for your neighbor and life on line for your people. So, but we do it all the time in non-Pacific. What it really
military perspective. But what I was saying, like, when it says love your neighbor as yourself, it's like this. If Sam car down, right? It's based on the situation that's going on. So Sam's car down, right? He ain't got no car. He gotta walk to work. Work is cold outside. It's snowing, matter of fact. He gotta walk to work because he gotta provide for the family. So if I'm gonna love my neighbor like myself, I'm gonna say, what you do is take yourself and you put yourself in that situation. That's how you can have a servant in your house. You go, man, this person ain't got nothing. He got no job, his family, he got a little family hungry. I was in his situation and somebody opened the doors for me to serve in their house. I would do that. So now he can become and be a servant in my house because I loved him as I would love myself in that situation. You know what I'm saying? I'll come and work and hey, as long as you give me some shelter, some clothes, some food and stuff for me and mine, I'll work for you. You see how that works? It's not like, I wouldn't want to be a servant in nobody's house. So I'm not going. That's not the way it works. Or y'all wouldn't forbid servants with me this right here. You know. So that's what it's saying. Put yourself in the situation and see how would you like to be treated in the situation.
Okay. Because if you take that mentality, the opposite, right? So go to the next one. And here's also why that's important. So Deuteronomy 7:6, right? Most High says, "For you are set apart, right? people unto your Elohim. The Lord your Elohim has chosen you to be a peculiar, right, people unto himself above all the people that are on the face of the earth. Jump down to verse 9. Know therefore that Yahweh your Elohim, he is Elohim, right? A faithful El which keeps covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
Right.
However, he repays those that hate him to their face. To destroy them, he will not be slack to him that hates him, but he will repay him to his face. So in other words, when you see that notion of I am Yahweh, is at the end of a commandment that's in reference to your brother, what is that really saying?
You're doing it towards me.
You're doing it to the Most High.
Right.
So if you hate your brother or you change towards your brother, don't be surprised if the Most High changes towards you. Don't be asking questions like, dang, I wonder why this is going. Don't ask that question. Don't do that, because Most High already told you, I'm calling you to be set apart. And then,
You've done it to the least of me.
so the Most High, remember we a couple weeks ago we talked about that that stroke of Sadah to get your attention, right? We talked about that. So just keep that in mind. You understand? So that's why John was saying, remember that scripture I told you guys last week, that the eyes of the Most High are everywhere, always watching. And you never know when y'all look at you right in the face, saying, "Will you give me something to eat?"
Okay.
Or I don't have this, or I don't have that. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what? I just need to, can you show me about your Elohim? Because you were somebody that was seeking Yah at one time, right? That's how you were loving yourself. So don't go about being a stumbling block. You know what I'm saying? So all of these commandments, right? They're all a God. They're all one. You understand what I'm saying? In terms of how they're supposed to function. So should you have the question, right? That's why. That's why all this that's why it's important. And because you were set apart people. That's what the Most High said. Set apart to himself. For his purpose. Everybody following that? So you can see how the law instruction gives you the instructions on how to love and watch. You can see that. You see why we have it. You see why it's important. You see why we have to put that into the next generation. So they can keep getting loved by the Most High, not hated.
It's pretty much almost like a curse if you don't follow what he has given us. It's almost like you're damning yourself. Can I say that? Oh, sorry. It's almost like you're bringing on wrath to yourself and to your babies and to anybody that you come in contact with that's around you. With just not doing it.
That's really all it is too. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so next week we'll get into mixing and all that other kind of stuff. Any questions on what we covered right here? Everybody good on that?
Okay. Okay.
All right, so this I'll make this available on the website, so you can go on there, you can download it, and look at it if you want to. But with that, so that attention.
Right.
Right.
Hallelujah.
All right, let's stand.
Yeah, that's good.
know what day it is. It's just a bad day.